Welcome to Commander Pop Culture, a place to gather magical information with some laughs, might I add. Welcome everyone, this is day 3 of Murders at Karlov Manor spoilers. I'm just going to evaluate the cards, what they'd fit in, that kind of stuff, so let's get started. First off today, we got Vannifar Evolved Enigma. At the beginning of combat on your turn, choose one, click a card from your hand, or put a +1/+1 counter on each colorless creature you control. The cool part about this is that it triggers on combats. If you play a main phase 1, you'll get a trigger the turn you play it. Based on whatever you choose to do, you always have something to do with your stuff. I think you'll most likely choose Cloak a card until you don't have any more creatures that cheat in play. Unless you'd rather play it on its face side right away, like say it's an ETB trigger. When that scenario happens, you just put counters on stuff. Again, I don't think there's a card even remotely like this, so it's hard for me to compare it to anything else. Just fits the cloak and disguise mechanic nicely, or lends itself to those mechanics nicely. I guess poison's coming back. Whenever you sack a clue, target opponent gets 2 poison counters. That's pretty fun. I don't know if you're in a poison deck and you make clues, but that might be too specific for poison decks to really care for it. At least when it enters, you make a clue token, and then you get to throw 2 counters on someone. Let's see, this card is in Japanese, and they don't have the English translation. I actually can read Japanese. It's Tento Tenra Tsura Gu. When you have English names, they just spell it out phonetically in Japanese, what that will be, but anyways, it's a red enchantment for 2 mana. Whenever a creature you control attacks, exile a top card of your library face down. For 1 colorless and a red, discard your hand, sack it, put all cards exiled by it into its owner's hand. Okay. So it's kind of like Bomat Carrier, only on an enchantment. It's a little safer than Bomat Carrier because we'll eventually get blocked by something and then you're forced to sack it. While this, you could just leave it out until someone goes to blow it up or you run out of cards at hand. Blowing up enchantments is really hard to get rid of, so I'll throw this into a lot of my red decks because I think it's that good. Pretty consistent. The fact that it triggers on a creature means you could attack with multiples, exile multiple cards off the top of your library, and you can get this bank vault filled up pretty quickly with cards. I would say the moment it outpaces your hand would be the opportune time to get rid of it, but if you want a big fat stack of cards and you have a lot of creature in play, I just ride it till the cows come home and see what happens. Pride of Hulklade for 11 mana. First ability has cost reduction. It's cost less for the total toughness of creatures you control. It has Defender, and for double blue, 2 colorless. Until end of turn, target creature control gets +1/+0 and gains whenever this creature deals damage to a player. Draw cards equal to its toughness and can attack as though it didn't have Defender. And it's a crocodile elk turtle. They had a lot of fun with that creature type. And it's legendary, so you could play it from your command zone. Because it has a blue activation cost, you could actually play Simic. You'd be surprised by how many walls or big toughness creatures exist in Magic at this point that I honestly think you could make this -10 cost reduction pretty consistently. Really kick-ass draw trigger, pretty exciting. You could fill your hand with God knows what, but if you're playing a bunch of big toughness creatures, your deck kind of depends on this being in play, and it doesn't solve your problem of like dealing damage, because you're still dealing damage based on power. You're just drawing cards based on toughness. You'll have to eventually draw yourself into a win, but you're going to be filling your deck with a bunch of creatures with a lot of toughness, and that doesn't win you the game. This guy is pretty unique and cool. I'd give him a try. I don't know if he'd be like in a mainstay rotation of cards, but very unique creature design. Drag the Canal. Create a 2/2 white-blue detective creature token. If a creature died this turn, you gain 2 life. Surveil 2, then investigate. It's an instant. It's a little weird because on resolution, a creature would have to die for you to get the following sentence of stuff. It would have been nice if it said until end of turn, because then you could have flashed in a 2/2 detective, blocked with it, you would die, and then you would get all these effects, but it kind of depends on something dying before you cast a spell, so it's a little strange. I think it's strictly just a value piece. I wouldn't go out of my way to make a deck slot for it. This feels more like a 60 card format kind of a deal, because like Surveil 2, that's a lot of card selection, and then you get to draw whatever you leave on top with the clue token. Goblin Mask Maker. Whenever it attacks, face down spells you cast this turn cost 1 less to cast. When you play the Disguise or Morph of 3, it gets reduced to 2. That's pretty nice. For 1 mana on a creature, that gives you cost reduction. That's pretty dope. It just sucks that it has to attack, so hopefully you have people with open boards for you to get in. Otherwise, it's a one-time deal. But you could just play cost reduction for creatures like Cloud Key or Nihilea and Umori, all those other things, if you want a static cost reduction, but I don't think anything beats 1 mana. That's where this card kind of shines.
Attention, keyboard shoppers.
Escape Tunnel. This is a new Evolving Wilds, suffering from power creep, because now it makes a target creature power 2 or less unblockable. So you budget builders will appreciate this, I'm sure. That brings us to the end of today's spoilers. Another short one. I like it. Because the videos are shorter, I'm actually going to do a double feature today. Depending on how productive I am, I might even do 3. If you had a great time, subscribe, stick around to see what I do next. See ya. Bye.
Thank you.